Welcome to Eduvina Academy Physics classes. I am SR Sir, and today I will begin the topic Gauss theorem. So this is an important topic in the electrostatics portion in physics. So this will be the part 1 lecture on Gauss theorem. I'll give this lecture in 2 languages, English and Bengali. So you find your own convenient way to listen the lecture. You can like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Link will be given in the description. And you can also subscribe to our Telegram channel to get study materials and more useful stuffs. The link will be given also of the Telegram channel in the description. And you can download our app from Google Play Store. So let us begin the Gauss theorem part 1 lecture. So the medium of this lecture for now is English. So this lecture will be in English. So let us start the topic Gauss theorem. So the first thing to be learned in the Gauss theorem is basically the area vector. So area is a scalar quantity we know from our previous days, but it is convenient to choose the area as a vector quantity. So what will be the direction of that vector? As because we know that a vector quantity has a direction, particular direction. So if the area is a vector quantity, then it will have a direction. What will be that? It will be basically the normal to the surface. So a surface has a surface area. What will be the area vector to that surface? It is basically the outward normal to that surface. So area is a scalar quantity, but in some of the problems it is convenient to treat it as a vector. So the area vector to a surface is the outward normal, that is perpendicular, drawn to the surface area. So this is say a surface. Then the surface area has an area vector dA, which points outward normal to the surface. So this is the area vector dA, which is perpendicular to the surface pointing outwards. Okay. So an important topic now we'll learn is the solid angle. So what is the solid angle? The area of a spherical surface subtends an angle at the center of the sphere. So an area of a spherical surface, the whole area of a spherical surface, if subtends some angle it subtends an angle at the center of the sphere. That angle is called the solid angle. So we learn this in detail in the next slide. So the area of a spherical surface subtends an angle at the center of the sphere. This angle is called the solid angle and is represented by omega. So let us understand this properly. So this is the geometry, a spherical surface A. This is an area element on the surface dA, a small area element. So what will be the angle which dA subtends at O? Basically the solid angle d omega. We will find it. So let dA be a small area element of the surface of the sphere situated at a distance r from a point O. So dA is a small surface element on the surface A situated at a distance r from O. So this distance O, the distance between dA, this surface, and O is r. Let r cap be the unit vector along the line joining the point O to the area element dA. So this r has a direction. This is a vector quantity. So r, the unit vector along r is r cap, which is in this direction. And let theta be the angle between r cap and dA, where dA is the area element, the area vector of this element dA. So dA is the area vector of this element dA, and r is the unit vector along this direction, along the direction of r. So this dA and r has an angle between them, theta. So what will be the projection of this dA? What will be the projection of this dA on the surface of the sphere? So the projection of the area element dA on the surface of the sphere will be dA cos theta. How it comes? As because r cap, the line joining dA and O is r, the unit vector along r is r cap. So as r cap and the area vector dA differs by an angle theta, so basically the two planes dA and the plane differing by an angle theta will be the projection of this dA. So let us understand this. So as this r and dA differs by an angle theta, so the two planes dA and this plane will be differing by an angle theta with this plane. So these two planes differ by an angle theta as r cap and dA differ by an angle theta. So this plane is basically the projection of dA on the surface of the sphere. So this plane is basically dA cos theta. This is what? This is the projection of dA on the surface of the sphere. So these two planes differ by an angle theta. So this is dA, this is dA cos theta. So dA cos theta is the projection of area element dA on the surface of the sphere. So the solid angle subtended by the area dA at the center O of the sphere. So this area element dA subtends an angle d omega at O. This d omega is the solid angle. So d omega is basically the projection dA cos theta, as you have seen, dA cos theta by r square, this distance, the square of this distance. So in vector form, d omega is basically dA dot r cap. Basically the projection is dA cos theta. So dA dot r cap gives the projection. So dA dot r cap by r square. So this is the solid angle, the expression of the solid angle we are getting over here. Okay, this formula has to be remembered. Let's talk about the next slide. So what is electric flux? So the electric flux through a surface is defined as the number of electric lines of force passing normally through the surface. So let E vector be the electric field at the location of the element dA. So we have an area element dA, the electric field at that element is E vector. At that location of that element dA is E vector. So the scalar product, the scalar dot product basically of this E and dA gives the electric flux of that element through that element. So E dot dA basically is the electric flux through that element dA. So it is basically the electric lines of force passing through that element normally. So what will be the total electric flux through the surface? It is basically the surface integral of this scalar dot product. So the total area is A, say, then the surface integral on that whole surface where the integrand is this thing E dot dA gives the total electric flux through that surface. So phi is basically double integral or surface integral over E dot dA. So this electric flux is positive for lines, electric lines of force pointing outwards, that is leaving the surface, and this phi, the electric flux, is negative for those pointing inwards, that is entering the surface. So electric lines of force, depending on the electric lines of force going outwards or inwards, leaving the surface or entering the surface, the sign of the phi, the electric flux, changes. So what will be the electric flux density? This is the electric flux. So electric flux density is just dividing this by the area of the surface. So some flux is there through the surface, that is electric lines of force passing normally through the surface, there was some flux. So what will be the flux density? Just divide that by the surface area. So in an electric field, the ratio of the electric flux through a surface to the area A of the surface is called the electric flux density at the location of the surface. So the electric flux per unit area, or the ratio of the electric flux to the area of the surface, gives the electric flux density. Now phi is basically E dot dA or EA, and electric flux density is phi E by A. So EA by A, that is equal to E. So the electric flux density is basically the electric field. So the SI unit of the electric flux density is similar to the electric field, that is same to the electric field, that is Newton per coulomb or volt per meter. So as electric field is a vector quantity, so electric flux density is same to electric field, so it is also a vector quantity. But the electric flux is the scalar dot product of E dot dA. So it is a scalar quantity. So this has to be kept in mind, that electric field is a vector quantity. So electric flux density is also a vector quantity, though the electric flux is a scalar quantity. Okay. Now the important theorem in this chapter is the Gauss theorem. So we'll state the Gauss theorem first and then we'll prove it. So what is Gauss theorem? Gauss theorem states that the electric flux phi through any closed surface, mind it, it is closed surface, is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge Q enclosed by that surface, that closed surface. So the law is basically phi E, the flux through any closed surface, is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed by that surface. So this is the law. So how to prove this? Let us see. Proof. So let us consider a point charge plus Q situated at O. So we consider this geometry. So plus Q point charge is situated at this O, inside a closed surface A. This is a closed surface A. Let dA be a small area element surrounding a point P on the surface. So this area has a small area element dA on the surface surrounding a point P. Let OP is equal to R. So O and P is joined by R. So this length is OP is R. The area element may be represented by a vector dA drawn outward along the normal to the element. So dA vector is basically the area vector of this dA. The area vector of this area element is dA, which points outward to this surface normally. So the outward perpendicular to this area, dA is the dA vector, the area vector. So this is the normal to the surface. So this is basically n cap. As we know, the area vector is points along the normal to the surface outwards. So the dA is basically, the direction of dA is basically the direction of n cap, that is the unit normal to the surface, this surface dA, this surface dA. So let E be the electric field intensity at P. So at P, let E be the electric field intensity due to this charge at O, due to this plus Q charge at O. Now its direction is along OP. So the electric field has a direction along OP, that is along R cap, as basically E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square R cap. So the line joining the two O and P is R. So the direction of E is R cap, that is in this direction E acts. So the electric flux through the area element dA, the electric flux through this small area element dA is d phi is equal to E dot A. As we know, phi is the scalar dot product of E and A. So d phi is E dot dA. So this basically this dot product means E dA cos theta. So this dA and E, that is dA and R, basically dA and E differs by an angle theta. The angle between the dA and E is theta. So what will be the E dot dA? E dA cos theta. So E dot dA is E dA cos theta, where theta is the angle between E and D. So E is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square. The charge at O was plus Q. The distance between O and P is R. So E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square along OP, along R cap, whatever. So d phi is E dot dA. So E is this thing, Q by 4 pi epsilon naught, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square. And what is E dot dA? Means E dA cos theta. So E is this thing, this is dA and this is cos theta. So E dA cos theta. But d omega is equal to dA cos theta by R square from the expression we obtained earlier. So d omega is equal to dA cos theta by R square. So we just represent this, thus just replace this by d omega, where the d omega is the solid angle subtended by the area element dA at the point O. So the small area element dA subtends a small as a solid angle d omega at the point O. So what will be that d omega? dA cos theta by R square. So we substitute this over here. So d phi is Q by 4 pi epsilon naught d omega. Now to find the total flux, we have to integrate this. So over the whole surface. So the total flux phi through the entire surface A is integration of d phi is equal to integration of Q by 4 pi epsilon naught d omega. Now the integration of d omega gives the result 4 pi. You have to remember this. So phi is equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught integration of d omega. So this integration gives 4 pi. So this 4 pi and 4 pi gets cancelled, and we are left with Q phi equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught. So this is the Gauss law. So this is a very, very important law and has to be remembered. And the application of Gauss law, we'll learn that in the next lecture video. So you can take a homework. You can derive the Coulomb's law from this Gauss law using the Gauss law. You take this as a homework. So we learn the application of the Gauss law in the next video. So if you like this video, do like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For more videos and study materials, you can subscribe to our Telegram channel, and you can download our app, which is available in Google Play Store. Thank you.